they could understand.
Hi, good afternoon, all. How are we doing today?
Fine, thank you.
Okay. So that's good. Trust you all having a great week. We're just going to give everybody a few more minutes and then we'll start, okay?
Hello.
Okay. Okay, so I was just trying to wait and give persons the opportunity to, sign on, but it's being recorded, so good that everybody is having a good week and we all made it. And thank you for making it to the adjusted time. We all would have received the review sheet. I know some persons said that they didn't get their 5% and they wanted the opportunity to get their 5% in this class. Approximately how many persons don't have their 5%?
Me, I don't. I just attended a Toastmasters meeting last night.
Okay, go ahead and share. It's good that it's only you one. Go ahead.
The meeting I attended was a Toastmasters Visionary Club. I was invited to it from my older sister. She is a visionary. The meeting was about killing others with kindness, and one story stuck out to me in particular from Toastmaster Davis. He spoke about this taunting supervisor. Every time he got something done, she would give him more work to do, and it would kind of pile up, and she'd be angry about it, and she'd be angry about him not finish it in time, so she give him more work than he was supposed to. And he said one day he basically told her about it and she had a problem with it, and he said he turned the other cheek by giving her a few words of advice. And it's kind of similar what I'm going through, because at work, with the shortage of staff, and I kind of I do get frustrated at work at times, and it made me think about it. To say being frustrated about it, it doesn't help. But rather than saying something, it can help you at times. And yeah, that really stood out to me, and I enjoyed the meeting after that.
Okay, so you think you would join or become a member?
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to the meeting next week. The president of the Visionaries Club, she asked me to join, and I work with her a bit about a few things.
So you introduced yourself, you'll exchange pleasantries, and you got some information about the club.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. What was the word of the day?
Oh, I came late, so the word of the day was dungeon.
Dungeon? Okay,
Yeah.
and what's the meaning of dungeon?
The dungeon is like, that's why the word for the day, and I mean, that's why the stories for that night was about turning the other cheek, basically, because when you feel as though you're so frustrated and there's nothing you can do, you feel like you're in a dungeon, you feel entrapped.
So perhaps dungeon was the theme, because you know their word is normally a word that you can't even pronounce,
Oh
and
yeah,
that you
but
don't use normally.
I they was using dungeon all day, so I thought that it was. I knocked off from work late last night, so I ended up catching the meeting when it was halfway through.
Okay, well, thank God you can't catch part of it and you can get your 5%. Okay, good, very good. Anybody else need their 5% or that's it? Okay, good.
Me,
Ms. Fuller,
No, good.
Ms.
We're
Fuller,
moving right along.
Ms. Fuller.
Who's this? Who's me? Who's me?
Miss Fuller.
Morning. Cassandra,
Okay, go ahead, Cassandra.
Ms. Fuller, I went to what's the meeting and Toastmasters, Pinnacle speakers, but they didn't have no special guests or anything. They had in-house speakers. They didn't speak about much. The topic was heroes. They spoke on the statue of Columbus that got knocked up.
And what they say about it?
No, they were asking who we think should replace the statue, and they suggested Lyndon or Marlo Butler. They didn't really elaborate it on anything. They just was running through different topics. Then they spoke about healthcare workers. Who do we think should be considered heroes? They elaborated on who they thought should be heroes, and then they spoke about how we need to recognize heroes more. And then they went on to the in-house speakers. One spoke about, it was supposed to be about dynamic leadership, but she spoke about how she was preparing, how she had to do a speech and she wasn't prepared, and the pressure she was under because she waited last minute to prep her speech. And the other one spoke about her mentor and the person in your life who you consider a mentor. So then she went on with procrastination as well. So it wasn't much they spoke about. They just was doing stuff like that in the meeting. So they didn't have no special guests.
Okay, so what was their word for the day?
The word for today was ditto. Ditto with
Ditto?
hands. Yeah.
BITTER?
DITHER. Ditto.
Okay, BITHER,
Unable to make a decision about doing something. Being indecisive. So it wasn't much they spoke about. Then they invited me to come out next week when they have, I guess, their guests. They speaking about cancer, so forth.
Okay, and so what are your thoughts? Over the pandemic, I saw that, I don't know if it was the office of the Prime Minister, but persons were chosen as heroes, and I think DJ Overdose was one. There was some teacher who was able to still teach her disabled children during the pandemic, and a lot of people came on and they complained about that. But I mean, who decides who's a hero? I mean, I'm sure
Exactly,
they did.
either they don't know the definition of the in-depth definition of a hero. So.
But why wouldn't those persons be a hero? I mean, not for me, but for my children. DJ Overdose was locked up in the house, kept them going with the music, and they look forward to that as an activity because they could not go outside. My children are on teams like baseball and sports, and so outside of exercising in the yard, that kept them going. So why wouldn't that in their mindset, if people would have voted for him, why wouldn't in their mindset that be a hero to them? Who decides what the criteria is?
Or hero. I guess everybody got a little hero in them.
Right. And so therefore, I don't think we should shut down if people are, hero may be, I don't want to devalue the meaning of hero, but I mean, in that person's eyesight, if they took the time to recommend this person and gave valid reason and it went before the board, and the board said, okay, fine, we'll recommend this person, who are we to say, no, we don't agree, and so no, because there may be somebody who's a historian or something that's, we're not a part of, and we believe they should be rewarded. So I don't know. I was surprised if somebody's rewarded. I don't think we should break them down and say, you're no hero and how dare they recommend you, like, really? But anyway, that's just my point of view. Okay, very good, Cassandra and Quinette, if I pronounce it correctly. Is it Quinette?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. So Krishna, I see you sent me an email about an overview for a meeting. Are you sharing with us?
You want me to share now?
Well, yeah, this is the last opportunity. If you want your 5 points.
Yeah, it was, let me get my paper real quickly. One moment.
Okay.
It was good. It was the eloquence meeting.
Mm-hmm.
They basically talk about how a woman should carry themselves and speech, proper adequacy. They had a speaker, if I could find the paper.
Just look at the email you just sent.
Okay, 1 minute. I would like to share too, please, Ms. Bullard. Oh,
Who's
yeah.
that?
So the word of the day was urbanity. And
Wait, Krishna, I don't think Krishna finished. Krishna, you don't finish, right?
no, I know. Sorry, I was just looking for the paper. I'm sorry.
Okay. So Krishna, you want Alma to go while you look for the paper, or you have it?
I have it. I can pull it up right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so the word of the day the topic was elegance meets eloquent, and they was honoring Maya, a lady named Maya, and the word of the day was urbanity, which is a noun. It means courteous, I think I pronounced it properly, and refinement of manner.
What's the word?
Courteous. I think I first pronounced it properly.
Or the word is courteous. Okay.
Yeah.
And what does it mean?
No, the word was urbanity, and it means refinement of manner, basically. I didn't know much about Toastmasters meeting at all. I learned that they are a non-profit organization, and that specific one, they offer communication and grooming training or programs. Also that they have
for free or at a cost?
No, I think for free. They didn't say a price or anything like that.
Yeah, so take advantage of that if it's free.
Yeah, and then they have a person for like different things, like a timer, an arm counter, like what I do just now, word master, and a lexicologist. That's the person who introduced the words of the day. Shanique Miller was the speaker. I found it very informative, and they talk about feminism and how to be a lady and how to speak and how to carry yourself. So it was really interesting.
Okay, and what did the Maya lady get a reward for, recognition for?
I didn't catch that part. I think I did zip out.
You gotta be quiet.
You're only in one, that's 5%. You're dipping out, you're going late.
No,
you're
I was playing. No, it was playing while I was inside the kitchen. So I still was listening, but I wasn't really listening. But yeah,
Okay, so when you going back to listen.
pardon me?
When you going back to listen.
Well, I think they have another one supposed to be, well, I missed the one was supposed to be Tuesday. They have another one coming up on Tuesday, so I'll sit in on that. It's very interesting. I'm thinking about joining because it's very nice. So yeah.
Okay, good, great. Thanks for sharing. Go ahead, Alton.
Hi, good evening. So I mean, unlike everybody else who would have went like the Toastmasters, I joined a farmers organization. Well, I didn't join it, but like I just went to the meeting they had. It was a Caribbean farmers organization. They normally meet like every other month, where they discuss just ways and how we as countries can help alleviate or lower the importation rate of food, especially with COVID coming in, how we as a country can actually produce our own and what we can do to actually grow our own food naturally, organically. They talk about ways, well, they talk about what products to grow, the type of season to grow, what type of soil to grow it in, what fertilizers to use, and also how we could use our natural resources and make our own fertilizers for our own plants. And so that's what really stood out to me, yeah. And the fact
Okay.
that we have like international farmers who are well versed in this field, who are able to give feedback in terms of tips of what you can do to actually keep your plants green and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what stood out to me.
Okay, so very good, Alton, and good for thinking outside the box. And today was MLRO Day, and so there was a paid seminar from 9 to 5. It was really interesting. Lots of topics. One of the topics that came up is compliance in the cannabis industry. So definitely we're gonna need some compliance officers, to man this cannabis industry. So that agricultural forum that you're in, that may be beneficial to you. So hold on to that. So very good. So from this pandemic, I've heard so many people talk about food source and what we should grow, and I've heard a lot of talk. Are we actually doing it? Alton
Sorry.
Gone.
Number here.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Mhm.
So one of the tippy top topics was just having the government to help oh Lord, introduce some backyard farming to help to help citizens, not only citizens, people on the whole, just to try to at least start something in their backyard. But the only little thing about it was the fact that the government, I don't know if you guys would have noticed, they would have like this backyard package, like each ministry would have distributed based on, let me not say, based on the oh Lord, member of parliament of your respective area, they would have
Yeah.
had like a backyard farming package. But the only thing about it was that the fertilizer they had in the package itself was like a chemical fertilizer instead of using the natural resources. And so that was, we want to grow things organically, not using something that's, chemical or that could probably lead to ultimate natural causes later on in life, like probably like cancer or something like that. Because at the end of the day, these are things that people have to consume. And so you want to make sure that whatever you putting into it is all natural and so one of the things that they would have spoke about was just using seaweed as well as chicken manure, duck manure, cow manure, and just basically using a whole household compost type of waste just to be able to fertilize the plants. And all of them provide the same nutrients and benefits as much as the chemical ones.
Okay, very good. And I listened to one early in the year, and they suggested the fish guts. Now that would be very, very smelly. But if somebody goes to, I guess, Montague or the dock or fish fry, wherever they clean and fish and collect all those guts, that they said it was one of the purest forms to put in fertilizer or something to that effect. So I was looking at that.
I've
Fish
used it
gut?
before. Yes, I have.
Okay. So what did you do to contain the smell?
Well, of course, you got to bury it. And so once you bury right away, obviously, like I never had no issue with the scent. But of course, before I put it in the ground, it had a center and it had lots of flies, some of the flies around me. But afterwards, when I put it in the ground, like about a week or two later, like not even a week or two, like probably like 3 or 4 days later, you wouldn't even smell it. You wouldn't smell it. But once
Okay.
it decomposes, it provides like nitrates and stuff to your plants to keep your plants like healthy and growing and blooming as it can be. But it provides
Okay.
a good nitrogen source, just like coffee greens and stuff like that. And hair, the hair you brush with your hair, they all provide good source of nitrogen-based protein for your plants.
Okay, great. Because my hair shred a lot, but thank you, Alton, for those little tips. Let's move on to the intro review sheet now. I guess that's with I see we have a full house tonight, so everybody's here to chime in, and everybody should have out their sheet and document their 10 points, and this should
Excuse me.
help you be prepared for the exam.
Good evening, Miss Bullard.
Hi.
Hi, good evening, this is Demetria. I know I need to get back to you in regards to my newspaper.
Right, but we'll do that towards the end, so don't worry about that. I'm aware. I have your name down with a little tick next to it.
Okay.
So that's fine. So let's get through it. So to the persons who want to leave and just get, the answers and go, let them, be. This is our last and final class. So that means we did it. We've made it to the end. By now, we should have decided whether or not compliance is for us. Should have decided whether we can discipline ourselves enough to read, comprehend, and make decisions. Okay? And even if you've decided that, okay, Ms. Bullitt, this is it. This overview was more than enough. I'm not going to go on any further. Please go on a journey of continuous learning. Ensure that you get your professional development hours each year. And so, like Alton went to, she joined that forum for agriculture. Just ensure that you keep abreast of what's going on in your country and in the world that would affect your country by reading the newspapers. And like I said in the first class, just subscribe on your Facebook page or your social media and just get the highlights. I also talked about, the Bahamas needing, ethical future leaders. And so, again, I hope this is just the beginning and you do venture out into whatever field that you're interested or passionate about and become successful. Okay, so by now we should know that there are going to be 15 multiple choice and 7 essays. And we should have a little star next to the things that we know for sure that we are going to answer. So you should now know that I'm going in to answer this terrorism question. I'm going in to talk about the money laundering crimes. Of course, we know the fines for tipping off and failing to disclose is going to be the multiple choice question. So I know those fines, and I know Ms. Bullitt said people always get one wrong for some reason, and the fine is the same. So you should be at that point. Most of you are sitting comfortably. Most of you have 30 full points. So you only need another 40 because overall the pass class is 70%. Okay, so most of you, at least 90% of you are going in with full points. So that's commendable. So very good for that. There's going to be 3 hours. The exam is on the 30th. Please remember, because this is a very large class, the week of the 30th, please contact Ms. Dean at the Institute and schedule your appointment. Some of you are going to have to go at 9:30. Some of you will be at 12:30. That's on Saturday, the 30th. Again, if your employer offers you study time, please schedule your study time. And if you don't feel comfortable, if you have vacation, take a vacation day. Just ensure that, you have all the points down. Again, this is very comprehensive, okay? So it requires a lot of, there's loads of information out there. You have to scale it down and ensure that you have the meat and you are answering the questions. So when you get to the exam, read the exam. Each question will have 2 or 3 parts. I've seen a lot of persons start off with, if we ask a question, what is terrorism? Explain domestic terrorism, explain international terrorism. Persons get so caught up in an introduction about terrorism, they talk about domestic terrorism, and then they forget international terrorism. And so they lose points there. So please, after you write your essays, go back, or when you read the question, you say, I'm answering the terrorism question, you put 1, 2, or 3 on top of each question and check to make sure you answered the entire question. Because a lot of times persons, like I say, just drop off and forget there was a third part to the question. Get the most points when you give examples, okay? So with this first question, please don't come and, write down there are 21 crimes under money laundering. Tax evasion is the definition of tax evasion or the definition of drugs trafficking, and not give a case or an example, okay? Make sure you have an example or a case. If it asks you for 5 crimes, have a case for at least 3, okay? And normally if it asks you for examples, 3 is the, the normal amount of parts to a question or an answer and examples you should have. Okay, so if it talks about domestic terrorism, have an example of domestic terrorism. If it talks about international terrorism, have an example. Okay.
Ms. Bullitt, I just have a quick question, please.
Yes, go ahead.
You're saying the 30th, but I was under the impression it was the 23rd based on the book. It's not the 23rd?
No, it's the 30th. Yeah, remember last week, I said the Institute has, it's 25 of you, and they only have 8 classrooms, and they have another exam on the 23rd. So they pushed this one back to the 30th. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I missed that. I'm sorry. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, so make sure you call Miss Dean and schedule your time, morning or afternoon. Okay, and please, I talked about examination rules, no papers, no cheat sheet. This is not an open book test. Please only go with your mask and your keys, no cell phones. The exam is going to be recorded. Please, persons in the past put their phone on vibrate. It vibrated against the desk. They had to be removed from the exam. Or somebody say, oh, it's an emergency. If there's an emergency, I pray that there are none, but you please leave with whomever the Institute's number, which is 325-4955, and have that person call the Institute. Somebody will answer the phone, and if it's indeed an emergency and you need to stop the exam, you will be stopped, but you will have to do a retake, okay? Any other instance with, cell phones or bags or books, all of that, like I said, it's being recorded, it'll be $150 charge. And then if you are found cheating, which some persons felt like they had to have, you have to go to counseling, and you'll be removed from all programs at the Institute now. That's the same thing if you were at UB or any other college in Nassau. In my last class, the person had to be removed, and unfortunately their employer paid for the class. And so when the employer inquired about the exam, we had to tell them what happened, and you all know what happened after that, right? So none of that is worth it. We have gotten enough information. If at first you don't succeed, try again. This is definitely achievable, and sometimes people don't get it the first time, and we are there to assist and help you to ensure that everybody becomes successful. Okay. Okay. Any questions or concerns, or are we ready? Okay, so we know what to do. Y'all ain't going to Miss Bullitt and tell us this or that. Okay, good. So we'll start with Patricia and Alicia on question 1, money laundering crimes.
Hello, hi.
Hi.
Hi. Patricia here. And Alicia, of course. Hello?
We're here. I can hear you.
No, I'm wondering if Alicia has her mic on as well. But anyway, money laundering, terrorism financing, and proliferation financing crimes. Money laundering, terrorist financing, and proliferation financing are serious crimes in the Bahamas. The latter two are addressed in depth in the Anti-Terrorism Act 2018, and money laundering is addressed in Proceeds of Crimes 2018. Money laundering is the legal process of making dirty, ill-gotten money or assets appear legitimate. It is the
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
Patricia, I don't want nobody to be offended with me, right? But I'm just gonna casually say whether you would get points or not get points, okay?
Go ahead.
Okay, so what you said so far, no points. That's
Okay.
fluff.
Oh, you said
Okay,
that's fluff?
that's fluff.
Okay.
Yeah, so no
What?
fluff,
She ain't got
just
no
points.
points?
No
Okay.
points. Mhm.
Fluff.
Yeah.
Let's go then. Let's continue.
What that mean by fluff?
I guess when she's
Google
finished,
it.
and then you can tell us why.
Google what
I
fluff
must see a
is.
teddy bear there.
Go
I know
Google
what it is,
fluff
but I
is.
want to
Just let
know
y'all know.
why.
Then
Why
I
she
might
wouldn't
say
get
don't
points?
say nothing then. 'cause-
Sorry, I
Can
didn't
go
hear.
on?
What was the question?
Can I
I
go
just
on?
wanted to know why she wouldn't receive any points for that. So I can know.
Because that was fluff.
Can we do this at the end though?
Do what at the end?
No, I'm saying everybody asking these questions to you.
Yeah, but okay, but I just want to tell you what you won't get
No,
points
yes,
for.
you interrupting is fine. You said it's fluff. I get it. I get that. Thank you.
Okay, you all see the word fluff?
Mistake made in speaking, entertainment or writing perceived as trivial or superficial. Okay.
I guess I need to put fluff in essay writing. Okay. There we go.
Oh, unnecessary details in a text that are not useful to your audience.
Okay, and you would get no points for. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Okay. So
Money
we want
laundering is
specifically, let's hear about the crimes. There are 21 crimes that fall under money laundering. Go from there.
the 21 crime under money laundering.
Yeah. Go on page 9, I think. Yeah, 9.
The fraud, theft, counterfeiting, drug dealing, corruption or bribery, breach of sanctions, people trafficking, tax evasion, smuggling.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, so
sorry.
give me the definitions and an example of one. So pick 3.
Definition of all these crimes?
No. Pick 3 of them. Give me the definitions and then give me an example of one. That's not what you did for your answer?
No.
Okay.
I said what the money laundering, the crime is. To be honest with you, I thought these here were the crimes that led to money laundering.
No, there are 21 crimes listed under money laundering. Okay, the book just has 10 of them.
Uh-huh.
Right, so what is theft?
Okay. These are the proceeds of, this is the crimes that lead to laundering.
When you say that, what do you mean by that lead to laundering?
Because I thought laundering was, layering it, the placement,
Okay,
layering and integration.
money laundering is now a predicate crime. These are the crimes that are listed under money laundering. So if you get charged with theft, you will be charged with theft and money laundering, with tax evasion and money laundering, with drug dealing and money laundering, with counterfeiting and money laundering.
Okay, that's not the understanding that I got all this time. Purpose of the money laundering laws. Okay.
Okay, and this is why we're having a review to ensure that we all understand and be on the same page. And when we see the question, we would know what it asks. And this is how we answer
Okay.
it. Okay.
Okay, good. Mhm.
Okay. So essentially, you would list whatever amount of crimes it asks. It may ask for 3, it may ask for 5. It's a very popular question. It's very easy to answer. And you would need to provide a case. So we know what drug dealing is, right?
Yes.
Or drug trafficking or human trafficking. And
Or human
right
trafficking,
now,
yes.
yeah, the perfect cases are good philanthropists, right?
Yes, Adrian, right?
Right. So we'll say our good prime minister wrote a letter in his defense and our good pastor and all of that. So you have great examples of what to put on the human trafficking, right?
Right.
Okay. And then, of course, drug dealing been going on for years. So we know the 90 No's, we know the Dwight Major, we know a lawyer who pretended to be, well, she wasn't a lawyer and she snuck some drugs into the prison just the other day. She pretended to be a lawyer. And then they found out that it was,
Right.
she just wanted to break in. And then corruption and bribery are very good. Shane Gibson and Frank Smith and who else did the homework? Alma Campbell, all those names.
Right.
Right.
Michelle Rackley too, don't forget her.
Michelle Rackley, right. So we have loads of cases and loads of examples. We know that about counterfeiting, and we know that central bank always putting out warnings for these fake $100 bills and how to identify it. And there are many counterfeiting cases. In fact, George Floyd, very popular case. Everybody should know about George Floyd. The police was called on him because they alleged that he presented a counterfeit $20 bill in a convenience store.
Right.
Right? Right. Okay, so we have some examples.
I didn't know that part.
Right. Kendrick, I have half of the story. That's what happened, right?
Okay. My understanding, what we were supposed to have done is to present examples, cite cases, and put it in an essay form. That's what I remember. I might be incorrect as well.
No, I'm talking about the George Floyd case.
George
presented
Floyd
a-
case,
Yeah.
it was a $20 bill
Yeah.
that they assumed that it was a counterfeit. And the clerk called the police and he
Right.
got the lead.
Right. Okay, so good. We know how to answer question 1. We know what it would be asking, and we do have some examples depending on what crimes we list. Correct?
Yes, Ms. Buller, just a
And
question.
Clara.
Just a question, and in that scenario, should we just list the crime and a prospective case without details then?
No, the definition.
Mhm.
What is bribery? What is corruption? What is drug dealing? What is human trafficking? And then the case to go along with it. And you should get full points. Very easy question to get full points. Okay? And another thing with the exam, whichever question is easiest to you, answer that first. Okay? So you can answer question 10 first. Then you can go to number 5. Then you can do the multiple choice. But you must label each page and you must write each question number and write it clearly. A lot of times persons, they start at question 10 and jump all over and they don't put the question number. And so it's hard for us to decipher, and then they don't put their name on every page. Okay, so easiest question first and number on each page. This is question 10. This is question 5. Okay, we'll accept a list for the 7th question only. Now, I've said that in the past, and persons have given me a list for every question. No, it's an essay form. Questions
I
1.
thought you said 6 and 7 before.
Sorry? You thought I
you had
said,
6 and 7 before. You heard me?
yeah, you said I would accept a list, but no, I don't want you to get into the practice of writing this because somebody write a list for the entire exam. Okay, so don't practice
Okay,
that. It is
okay.
essay form, and question 7 can be a list. That means you
Okay.
ran out of time and you want to just jot down the points. And try to get some points, like 5 or 4 points. Okay, so Patricia and Alicia, are we good with now how to answer question one?
Okay, but what is, when you say terrorism financing, what is an example of terrorism financing?
I guess 9/11.
Yeah, there was $30 million involved with facilitating 9/11.
Okay, so this could be international or domestic money
Yeah, but-
laundering, terrorist
yeah.
financing, or any of those crimes. It could be
Right,
example,
and then,
sorry.
right, it'll probably ask you, how is it financed? So remember, to charities, somebody went to
Yes.
social service, somebody got a summer job, remember? You remember at the back of the book when we read that article?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Right, that is how they finance their objectives, through legitimate ways and illegitimate ways.
Okay, perfect. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good. Before we move on, I have a quick question on question one. So should we list examples once we explain these crimes as well? That's what you're saying?
When you say list examples, what do you mean?
Like say if we use if we said one of the crimes is bribery or corruption, should we also
Mhm.
list a case?
Yeah, you give an
Okay.
example, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so if it asks you for more than three, you out of, if it's six, suppose it asks you for six, you three is your go-to for examples. So if you would have provided a example for terrorism, for tax evasion, and for corruption, then that's fine. You should still get full points. So you would just need the definition for the other two.
Okay, so I have a question, just to be sure. So if they have here ML, money laundering, terrorism financing, proliferation, this is how it says number one. Is it that we answer all three or just either one and provide the list of? I don't want to
This
get
is not the
confused.
exam, right? This is not the exam. This is just a review sheet. So if you see a question on crimes, you would know how to answer it. So,
Okay.
right, again, I can't give you the test and how it is, but this is just to give you an example. Okay, and from this review, you should be covered once you study. In terms of the topics that would be on the exam. Okay, is that clear?
That's clear to me. Thank you.
Okay, great. Any more questions? Or good with question one? Okay, so Brittany and Cassandra, thank you, Patrice and Alicia. Brittany and Cassandra, can you give us the fines, please?
Okay. All right. Good night, everyone. Miss Bullard, can I share my screen, please? We did a
Sure.
PowerPoint.
Let me, I have just stopped it, right? Okay, go ahead.
Okay. 1 sec. Okay. This one away. Okay. Trying to start the slideshow, but okay. But our question is on the penalties for tipping off and the failure to disclose. And we'll just start with the definition. The term tipping off means any person who discloses to any other person information on any matter which is likely to prejudice an investigation. And then the term disclosure means the process of making facts or information known to the public. And it's important to note that the penalties for both tipping off and failure to disclose are the same. And the penalties found in Section 15, subsection 2 of the Proceeds of Crime Act 2018, which provides a person who commits an offense under sections 12 to 14, which deals with tipping off, the failure to disclose, and the failure to disclose to nominated officers. A nominated officer would be a person called the focal point officer who was appointed by the Financial Intelligence Unit to receive information on money laundering. So
Okay,
the
they're not appointed, the regulator approves and then they just send the approval to the FIU and the FIU accepts. Now, if you don't send that approval, you get a fine. So that's how it works. So it's not that the FIU appoints them.
Okay.
Okay.
So under sections 12 to 14 is liable on summary conviction to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 12 years or a fine not exceeding $500,000 or both, or on conviction on indictment to an imprisonment term not exceeding 20 years or a fine or both. So what does tipping off include? So tipping off includes things such as directly alerting a customer that that the financial institution is suspicious of them or their financial activity, informing others who are not parties to the investigation of the suspicion of the client, and changing the way the company handles the account. And then some examples of tipping off are asking your customers questions once a suspicious or illegal transaction has been detected, providing legal or financial advice to a client, performing enhanced due diligence right after having formed a suspicion of a client's financial activity. And then there are several criteria for failing to disclose information. And the first one is found in section 12, subsection 2 of Proceeds of Crime Act. And that is that he knows or reasonably ought to have known or suspected that another person is engaged in money laundering or committing an offense related to an identified risk. And an identified risk other than money laundering would be things like corruption, cybercrime, human trafficking, things of that nature. The second criteria is that the information or other matter on which his knowledge is based or which gives reasonable grounds for such knowledge or suspicion came to him during the course of his business. So while the compliance officer was carrying out a transaction, for example, if the compliance officer was carrying out a transaction and he became suspicious, he should do his due diligence, accept the money, and file, after he's accepted the money, file the suspicious transaction report. And then the last criteria is that he does not make the required disclosure as soon as practicable after the information or matter comes to him. So as soon as the officer becomes aware that some suspicious transactions taken place, he should make the proper authorities of the institution aware that this matter is taking place, and they'll take the proper action from there. And that's the end of our presentation.
Okay, very, very good. Brittany and Cassandra, very detailed. Could you scroll back up to the fine, please, so everybody can take note of it?
Brittany, y'all might still put that in the group because in a way I could remember that.
Section 15.
Right,
Sure.
I was thinking the same thing.
No problem.
Question, Ms. Bullard, would it be, if this question is asked, would it be asking for the conviction or the summary?
I can't tell you what's on the exam. I could just give you an idea of what you need to study. I can't tell you what it'll ask for. It varies across exams. So some persons might get the exam where it asks for conviction or the summary.
So, Ms. Bullard, what you're saying is, even though question 2 on the review sheet states fines for tipping off, it's going to be fines plus much more. We're just not going to just speak to the fines, because Brittany went on with some other stuff.
No, but Brittany, I think went on with that because I've said this question is too failing to disclose and tipping off, and this is always both on the exam, and for some reason 90% of the persons only get one right. So I that's why I supported her going in depth so persons get understand, because clearly people don't understand that the crime is the same, the penalty is the same. So that's why I supported her. I mean, yeah, if you, it's going to be a multiple choice, but I am thinking that she went in depth because I keep saying that for some reason people always get it wrong. I don't know, Brittany, is that why you give the extra information to ensure persons understand?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. We just wanted to make sure that we understood that the penalties and everything were the same and that there was criteria and things that followed.
Yeah. Okay, and so I guess if you understand what the penalty is and what it means to fail to disclose and what it means to tip off, then it perhaps will register with you if you see it on the exam. Okay? Okay, very good, Brittany and Cassandra. Thank you. Any more questions? No? Cara and Demetria, question 3. Is Cara and Demetria there?
Sorry
Yeah,
about
I'm
that.
here, but Demetria
I'm
is
here.
presenting.
Okay.
Yes, good afternoon. Okay, question 3, domestic terrorism, done by Cara L. Fountain and Demetria Poitier. Domestic terrorism is defined as violent criminal acts committed by individuals and or groups to further ideological goals stemming from domestic influences, such as those of a political, religious, social, racial, or environmental nature. These persons or groups are now commonly referred to as domestic violent extremists. The FBI and DHS define a domestic violent extremist as an individual based and operating primarily within the United States or one country, or its territories without direction or inspiration from a foreign terrorist group or other foreign power who seeks to further political or social goals, wholly or in part through unlawful acts of force or violence. The mere advocacy of political or social positions, political activism, use of strong rhetoric or generalized philosophic embrace of violent tactics may not constitute extremism and may be constitutionally protected. Sorry about that. Domestic terrorism involves violence against the civilian population or infrastructure of a nation, often, but not always. Hello?
Hello, can somebody mute their mics, please?
Domestic terrorism involves violence against the civilian population or infrastructure of a nation, often but not always by citizens of that nation, and often with the intent to intimidate, force, or influence national policy. Domestic terrorism can be organized in groups and can be connected internationally. These groups need financial support to fund their operations, to carry out their terrorist acts. This type of funding is called terrorist financing, which is TF. It is the gathering of funds with the purpose to be used to carry out acts associated with terrorist groups. The international terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001 transformed the U.S. anti-money laundering regulations created by the Bank Secrecy Act of 1970 into the.
Okay, you're getting too fluffy, Demetria.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. So again, what is domestic terrorism? And again, we can use the U.S. September 11, or we can use in 2019, there were more than 365 cases of domestic terrorism reported in the U.S. Okay, so we just want the definition, why they do it, what are their objectives. September 11 is an example. What happened in 2009, you could use one of those as an example, and then you could bring it home to the Bahamas. We had the Fox Hill Park.
The
Sorry?
Jerome Avenue situation.
Or the Montel Heights one.
Right.
Right, yeah, and that's it. Don't all that extra stuff. But we're looking for 1 page, 10 points. 1.5 pages the most. Okay? Demetria?
Now the points.
Are you listening?
We were supposed to.
I can't hear you, you're going out. I don't know if it's just me. Cara, can you hear her? Anybody? You can hear me?
I
Miss
can hear
Bullet?
you, Miss
Yes,
Bullet.
we can hear
Yeah.
you.
I
We
can
can
hear
hear
you,
you.
Miss Bullet, but I
We can
can't
hear
hear
you.
Okay, Cara, are you there?
I can't hear Cara.
No, I'm here. I was muted.
Oh.
Okay. Y'all have something else to add, or?
No, I mean, it was basically our gist or overall summary of it was speaking about the September 11th, which caused the US to change their policies because domestic terrorism wasn't so prevalent until September 11th, but that was international, but that caused them to change their AML laws. And then again, they had another big law change just in June with their compliance with the Capitol attack.
Okay.
And so
the
that is what kind of catapulted more focus on domestic terrorism in that country, and to pay more attention with compliance and money laundering and financing of those sort of things.
Okay, good. So of course, insurrection, good example to use. September 11th, good example. And then bring home what happened in the Bahamas. But as for domestic terrorism, you can use the US examples and that's good. But don't stray too much. Yeah.
Another good example would be the Trump supporters attack on Congress in 2021.
Yeah, that's the insurrection now that we're talking about, that Cara talking about, that caused the law to change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ms. Bullet,
Okay.
is 9/11 domestic terrorism?
Yeah, Bin Laden used to work for the US government.
Oh, didn't know that. But I thought it was the same citizenship as the victims.
But I mean, he lived there for what, I think 20 years and worked for them. So I don't know that they considered it domestic.
Okay.
Ms. Bullard,
Yes.
you could just if they could give the example again for a Bahamian domestic terrorism case.
In April, 6 men were shot in Jerome Avenue.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
At the Fox Hill Park, 8 persons were shot. And a baby shower in Montel Heights, I don't know which year it was, 13 persons were shot.
That's in 2017.
In 2017, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and then like I said, you could use the US examples because they had more than 365 cases, you know, in 2019. Okay, Demetria is back or no? No? Okay. All right, so we get the overall gist of what we should put if we see a question on domestic terrorism, correct?
Yes, for sure.
What are their objectives? Why they do it? What's in their minds, or you know, and like Demetria said, they have connects back home who encourage. I think the one in San Bernardino, California, the husband still lives
Miss
in.
Pollard. Miss Pollard.
Yes.
So shooting alone is just domestic terrorism. What about arson? Like when fire persons
I can't hear you.
burning
Sorry, hello?
in homes and stuff like that.
I can't hear you.
I was asking, shooting is you good at me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How does the
Okay, I was
shooting
asking
constitute?
because
Which shootings?
hi, good at me?
Okay, Patricia is speaking and I read a comment from Kendrick. Patricia, you're asking what Kendrick asked? Go read the definition with the Bahamas has for domestic terrorism, and that's what it falls under. Whenever, I don't remember if they say 3 or more, whenever there's a group of persons that is killed, then it falls under terrorism. So read the act or the definition and it'll tell you. That's how that's why it falls under that, because it's only alleged. We don't, just because they were released from jail, we don't know exactly what happened. Everything is alleged, correct? So as far as we're concerned, it's termed that until we find out that, again, a lot of our terrorism stems from where? Gang violence. Correct?
Yes.
Patricia?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, what's your questions? That was your question? How did why was the shooting classified as terrorism?
No, I didn't actually ask a question.
Okay.
But now you provided the answer, so I'm gonna. And I remember when they reported it, they called it. They referred to it as terrorism.
Right, because they haven't proved anything else. You know, so whenever there's a group of persons, it's considered terrorism. And like I said, our terrorism stems from gang violence. In the States, it's because, they may have a family or friend, close to ISIS, or they just have a mental issue, or they are part of the Confederate, whatever, and,
It doesn't necessarily have to be a mass destruction. It could just be the killing of a few people.
Yeah, cool. Just Google the definition so you have the correct definition.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Are we good on domestic terrorism? Okay. Question 4. Ebony and Indira.
Okay, good night, everyone. IBM, IMF, Bahamas Disaster Recovery. The International Monetary Fund, also known as the IMF, was created in 1945. After
No points.
No
points.
Oh, Lord. After the Great Depression, the IMF, along with the World Bank, was invented to assist countries from their economy collapsing. The IMF.
No points.
Jesus, Lord. Anyway, the IMF monitors the exchange rate, stabilizes the international monetary system.
No points.
Jesus, with its main focus on the financial global growth and its cooperation. This
No
is
points.
central. Oh boy. Well, we
Okay.
get no point. Okay.
I
Tell
may,
me
No,
about,
no, no,
tell
no,
me
no, we ain't
about,
done. Hello,
tell me what
hi, Miss
happened.
Bullard, Miss Bullard, Miss Bullard.
Tell
Hello.
me what happened with the Bahamas disaster recovery.
Well, we ain't get there yet.
We
That
ain't
was
get
No,
just
but
the
there.
get
introduction.
there.
Okay,
Get
so
there.
let me,
Because
okay.
we don't
Okay,
need
so,
it.
so
See?
Ebony, leave
Hi,
there.
excuse
Introduction.
me,
Sorry.
please. Excuse me. The purpose of this is that we do not want persons to sit down in the exam
Okay.
and write fluff that will not give them any points.
Okay.
Like I said, we have to learn how to compress the information and
Okay.
pull out what is required.
Okay.
You
So
only need
don't do
what's
no
required.
introduction. Just get straight to the point. Is what you said.
Yeah, introduction should say in 2017, or sorry, in 2019, we had Hurricane Dorian, and
Okay.
in 2020, we
Okay.
had a pandemic. That's what your
Okay.
introduction should talk about.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Ebony,
So
you
let me
finish
get
off
into the
now.
point.
Get to the point.
Okay, I know you say 19 and 20, but I'll go to 18 when the IMF sent the team in to the Bahamas, and then they raised concerns about our disaster relief plan. One of the things that they raised a concern about was the fact that we had no insurance for a Category 5 hurricane, as well as a storm that had excessive flooding. The governments prior to that didn't see a need for that because the chances of us seeing that, according to them, was slim. Then the party that was in at the time opted to go ahead and do that. They paid the insurance. They also went ahead and put aside 50% of the $88 million that the central bank had collected from dormant accounts. So they put aside 44 million of that. And they also secured some lines of credit. So they had a disaster relief plan in place.
Secured a line of credit with who?
IDB, I think it was.
Okay.
IDB.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. So when
And how much was the line of credit?
I don't remember.
Okay, so find out if you want full points.
Okay, I'll find it out. So when Hurricane Dorian came on, we had a disaster relief in place, and the funds that relief plan was able to help with some of the challenges with Hurricane Dorian. So when the IMF came back after that, reviewed the plan, they gave us a satisfactory rating.
Okay, so repeat the three things that they did again, so everybody gets documented.
They paid the insurance that had the clause for if we were hit by a Category 5 hurricane, as well as a storm that had excessive flooding. That was $900,000, I think it was.
Yeah.
They also put aside 50% of the $88 million that the central bank had collected from dormant accounts. And then they secured a line of credit with the IDB.
Right. Okay, good. 10 points. Very good.
Okay. So I don't need all these. Okay.
We don't need this introduction.
Nothing else.
Because I had COVID, so I don't need to put COVID once. That's fine.
You don't even need to talk about COVID. That right there gives you the full 10 points. Or if you want to talk about the COVID story, you could talk about COVID.
Okay. I
Yeah.
just want to reference and ask that because I think they did approve $250 million to deal with the COVID aspect as well. IMF.
Yep. In June
So
2020.
you're breaking up, Kendrick.
No, I was saying
Kendrick, you're breaking up.
Sorry. I do recall seeing an article where the IMF approved a $250 million plan for the Bahamas in regards to COVID-19.
Okay, but the COVID story is a bit different. When COVID happened, the IMF offered money, and because we had just collected from Dorian, we turned it down.
Yeah.
Then we went back, and 100 countries around the world had asked for money after we saw how severe it was. Then that approval came through. So it's easier to tell the story about Hurricane Dorian and get full points. But if you know the correct version of what happened when the pandemic came, then fine, go with that. You get 10 points for each one. Okay, so you decide. It's like I said, it's easier to do the Dorian one. But if you want to go with the pandemic, then that's fine. Okay, and any questions on question 4?
No, we
No?
clear as crystal. We clear as crystal.
Go ahead.
So, Ms. Bullard, what you're saying for question 4?
Hey, Indira.
Hi, Ms. Bullard. Hello.
Hi.
So, so for question 4, Ms. Bullard, what you're saying is you just need us to lift the disasters that we had in the Bahamas and a few the recovery efforts that were made.
No, you don't even have to list it. I mean, you could say it was the pandemic and the Hurricane Dorian, but you could say like Ebony started with, it happened in 2018, they came, they requested that we update our disaster relief. They got some opposition because we had Hurricane Matthew and they said we couldn't collect the insurance because it was not a category 5. And then we had another hurricane walking and they said it wasn't excessive rain, so we couldn't collect again. So of course the PL like that $900 paying them years away, place right away to satisfy. That could be one less audit point that we had. And luckily we did that because 6-7 months later or 9 months later, here was Dorian with excessive rain with category 5. Okay. And had we not had that in place, we would have suffered through Dorian and the pandemic, we wouldn't have an option. Or if we had waited or staggered or say, you know, listen to the opposition, but the opposition was valid in saying we can never collect, and that's $900,000. We could put that to another use. But it just so happens that, you know, the government went with it, so. Okay?
Okay, Ms. Bullard, okay.
Okay, great. Thank you, lady. It's very good. Very good. Okay, Michaela and Christelle, number 5.
Hi, good evening. Can I share my screen, please?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
I think I have to stop so you can see it. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, our question number 5 was the FATF Bahamas deficient recommendations. I had an introduction, but I'll just go to the points to be noted. During the Bahamas's mutual evaluation in 2015 by the FATF, it was found to be deficient in 22 of the 40 recommendations. As a result of this review, an updated Financial Transactions Reporting Act 2018 was required, which was updated to address the deficiencies identified by the FATF. Laws were enacted to align with the FATF's methodologies. Compliance and lawyer-client privileges were also addressed by Attorney General Carl Bethel. Another amendment was that certain professionals, such as lawyers and accountants, were treated as financial institutions, which required enhanced due diligence, which meant increased monitoring at least annually for high-risk accounts and businesses. Accounts would also require board approval. All suspicious activity must have been reported by the council via an STR, a suspicious activity report. Additionally, the legislative framework was found to be deficient for proliferation financing and targeted financing sanctions. Mitigating measures were also needed for money laundering and terrorist financing risks, and at that time, there were no documented national AML and CFT policies. Although financial institutions were aware of the regulatory AML and CFT obligations, a large number of the facilities in the domestic banking sector were unverified. Additionally, additional key findings and deficiencies were.
Okay, so what you have so far is very good. Tell me what the Bahamas did. We don't need more deficiencies. We need to say what was done.
Okay, we had to update our current financial transactions reporting act because it was deficient at that time. We had to put laws in place due to the deficiencies that were identified. Let's see. We also had to increase our response time due to the requests to those deficiencies. And we also were not submitting suspicious transactions reports. If I remember correctly, there was only one that was submitted, which is unrealistic for our jurisdiction because.
No, I don't think that's correct. Where you saw that information?
I think I saw that. I have the website noted.
Okay, so this is good information, but this is what I would do. I mean, this is just a recommendation, you know. You can say, like where you say legislative framework was found to be deficient for proliferation financing. And so they updated the Terrorism Act and blah, 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 and ensured that they included that, right? Yeah, or you could say recommendation 5, 7, and 8 was deficient, and so they updated that in Terrorism Act. Professionals, they call them the non-financial designated businesses or something to that effect. Again, they updated a recommendation. They updated the 2018 law section, whatever, to make them compliant. And now they report to the Compliance Commission, they assign them a regulator, all of those that had a corporate service providers arm and what have you. The risk assessment was deficient. And so Section 5 of the FTRA was updated to make it now mandatory, and it's now being enforced. The central bank and the Securities Commission and all the regulators now have an analytics department to enforce the law and, you know, have this hands-on approach to making sure that these assessments are collected. Okay, so you want to list the deficiency and then list the action to satisfy it.
Okay.
And then you should get full points, but very good information.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any questions from anybody? No? Okay. Thank you, Michael and Krista. Oughton and Gibson, number 6.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. So we had the question statutory requirements, where we spoke about, of course, it was under the theme customer due diligence. And it is the process by which financial institutions use to collect and evaluate information about a client or potential customer. And it is a major part of the meeting of the Know Your Customer standards. So we have, of course, we need identification. When a client, of course, in order for you to build a relationship with a bank or some sort of business meeting or whatever, of course, they need to know who you are. And so they require IDs to verify your identity. Of course, they would ask for, when they would uphold these, when they would have already obtained these IDs, we would have to then, of course, keep it and then record it. And so record keeping was another one, of records management. Of course, when records management would come in and they then the client then establish a business relationship, of course, they're then now, of course, to monitor the transaction of that particular account. So here comes records management. Another thing was just to be able to name screen, where they have to use it for politically exposed persons or people of high risk personnel, whether it be people on banned lists, wanted lists, or any PEPs. They had those who were to report reporting to the MLRO if there's any suspicious activity
Getting
reports or
fluffy.
whatever. Pardon me?
No, I was saying I wouldn't go so much in talking about like the types of customers, like the PEPs or the whoever you were saying.
So I was just giving an example
before.
of the type of names.
Fully. Okay.
So, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You didn't have to deal with the reporting to the MLRO. If there's any suspicious activity reports, of course, they would then bring it to the attention of the MLRO, who would bring it to the board of directors' attention. Tali, can you help me?
No, I mean, that you covered it. Basically, there's 5 statutory requirements: identification, record keeping, monitoring, the MLRO. And what's the last one? I missed one. Sorry?
Identification.
Training.
Oh, yeah,
And training,
Yeah.
right. And that's, you list the 5, you give examples of 3 or talk about 3, and that's 10 points.
Yeah, I was going to say that to you, Shakira. That was it. I didn't have to say anything that I wrote. So good job.
Sorry. Sorry.
Yes, good job, good job. Any question on the statutory requirements?
No, all she have to do is send the information to the group. That's it.
But y'all ain't writing this down. I mean, you're
Writing it down.
Going too fast. I write down some, but
down.
not
Yeah,
all because everybody's going too fast.
Would we get the recording? Are we going to get the recording, Miss Bullet?
I move fast.
Yes, yes, just speak to Miguel. Miguel love the recording.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, number 7, Kendrick and Miss Nordich.
Good evening, all. Okay, I'm just gonna go into it. I think I got too much fluff as well. Introduction. All of life is the management of risk and not the elimination. That quote is by Walter Wriston, who was the former president and executive officer of Citibank and Citicorp.
Yeah, no point.
No, yeah, that's cool.
Kendrick, don't give them what they need.
No points. No points.
Kendrick, can you just go to the diagram?
Give them what they need.
Examples of it.
Okay, here's what you need. Here's what you need. You need to be able to establish the what your risk framework would look like and what it all would entail. You would have to look for, first of all, at being able to identify your risk. That's the first thing you're gonna do. Once you've identified your risk, you have certain type of risk. You have operational risk, you have financial risk, market risk, regulatory, criminal, legal, reputational. An example of that is the Wells Fargo situation where they were fraudulently opening accounts and then taking persons' monies to fund those accounts. That's your first one, which would be constitute identifying your risk. Then you need to be able to assess what risks there are. And that you would do that through basically skimming. Identify course of action, for example, with training, to be able to train your staff in how to best assess those particular risks that you may be exposed to the institution. Next part would be the actual mitigation. You look at mitigation in regards to the definition. It makes it less severe and serious, less painful. Again, another example of that was Wells Fargo with paying out $3 billion in fines and criminal fines and so forth. Get out in front of that is mitigation. And after mitigation, you would also have to monitor. Monitor can be looked at in 2 ways. You can look at it in 2 ways whereby you can actually, not 2 ways. After monitoring, then you can look at the final one, which would be the actual documenting the actual findings. That would incline, for examples, with your, say, frontline workers in a financial organization, suspicious transaction report that goes up to the MLRO. The MLRO does an assessment. If he or she finds that there's something awry, they can then put in their report to the FIU or directly to the Commissioner of Police. That concludes that one, ma'am.
I didn't hear the last thing you said, Kendra.
You have to document. Once you start documenting what the risks are, for instance, I just use an example of an STR.
No, I heard that part. Then you said that, I don't know if you were saying that you were finished.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I just basically skimmed through all of it.
Okay, what is important too, along with Kendrick said, good information. Remember recommendation 1. Assess the risk, put controls in place to protect the organization from that risk. Then the framework, remember there's risk appetite, who we are going to do business with countries, what types of products. Are we interested in cryptocurrency or no? Are we going to take caps or no? Are we going to deal with Russia or no? That's the appetite. Then it's the risk assessment. Remember, in the risk assessment, we looked at different controls that we put in place. One of the most common controls is that we have 2 signatories required for all transactions. Or if it's a PAP account, we let the board approve it, right? They are some of the controls we have in place in the risk assessment. And then, of course, there's the 3 lines of defense. The front line is the first line of defense, the front line and all the managers. Then compliance is the second line of defense. And then the third line of defense is internal audit. And then we have the risk rating. This is where we have different categories along with a methodology, and we assess our clients based on high, medium, and low. And again, that's threefold. It starts at the country level, then at the organization level, then at the client level. Okay? Any questions? No? Okay, Shanique and Monique, question 8. Thank you, Kendra and Ms. Knowledge.
Good night. So question 8, basically, it's on court orders. And under the Proceeds of Crime Act, the legislation sets out several court orders which can be applied to criminal conduct that was committed. So we have conviction-based confiscation, non-conviction-based civil forfeiture, unexplained wealth orders, and investigative orders. So we have restraint order, freezing order, unexplained wealth orders, investigative orders or customer information orders, monitoring orders, disclosure order, and production orders. And for an example, in regards to the unexplained orders, we will relate to, one second. I relate to the situation where one of the clerks at UB she was accused of stealing about $600,000 or $700,000, and the cashiers from Battery and Tires, it was 4 of them who stole about $400,000 in total. That's the only example we have for now.
Okay, and we talked about Alma Chase Campbell, Anna Son, and Michelle Reckley, and all unexplained wealth. Okay?
Okay.
So give me the difference between a disclosure order and a production order.
A disclosure order and a
production order.
Okay, a disclosure order. You want me an example or just give them the definition of it?
No, just give me the definition.
Okay, a disclosure order. Okay, this order authorizes the authorized person to give any person it considers has irrelevant information notice in writing, requiring him to answer the questions. Answer the questions whether at a time specified in the notice or at once, at a place so specified. Provide information specified in the notice by a time and in a manner so specified. And
You should
also
need,
to,
what you
Hi?
go write on the paper? You don't go write all the specified on the paper. Tell me what you go write on the paper in the exam.
if I'm giving the definitions,
Yeah, you go write all of that.
no, just give them the definitions.
Yeah, so tell us just the
Okay.
definition here and try to
Okay,
remember all of that.
disclosure order. Okay, this authorizes the authorized person to give any person it considers has relevant information on a production order. It authorizes the person, sorry, an authorized person may apply to the magistrate's court for a production order.
Okay, so disclosure requires you to disclose, give testimony, right?
Right.
Production requires you to produce a document,
Okay.
right? That's what we write. We ain't the legal term, right?
Okay.
Okay. All right, any questions on orders? And of course, for the most part, like I said, if you're going to look for a case, you may have to find an international case because our media is not very good with
Yes, because
stating
I'm
what
trying
type.
to find some cases.
Right. They're not very good at listing what type of order it is unless you go to the actual case. But unexplained wealth, we have many cases. They love to say unexplained wealth now. That's their new word. So you'll
So I
find
have a question. With
Yeah,
orders.
go ahead.
If I choose that question, I could just list the orders, and then I could give several examples from one order, or no?
What you mean from the unexplained wealth? Yeah, you could.
Right.
It'll be hard for you to find it on anything else unless you go international.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, any questions? No? Okay. Where are we? Question 9. Lavinia and Marquita.
Hi. Hello?
Hi, we're here.
Oh, okay. Marika, you can share your screen.
Hi, let me share it because I'm using my phone.
Oh, I think I have to stop sharing mine for you all to share. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
because that's what it was telling me.
Mhm.
Okay. One second. Okay, I don't think I'm able to get it to share.
Okay, let me try.
Yeah, try here.
Are you guys able to see it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So our topic is red flags and indicators for organized crime. So basically, I had an introduction. Don't really want to go into that, but basically every organization is at risk of fraud. And acknowledgement of fraud, that fraud exists, and risk and which your risk, well, and which risk your organization faces. Basically, like you guys mentioned before, a few of you guys on the other topics, the risk frameworks and making policies and procedures to mitigate fraud within the organization. Marika.
Okay, so trying to get it. Okay. What are red flags and indicators? Red flags indicators are signs that help financial institutions or business entities apply risk. Okay. Risk-based approach to customers' due diligence requirements. There are some clients' behaviors or issues around
I'm not able to hear you
the
clearly. I don't know if
business
that's just me.
and its finance that should act as a warning to further investigate. I'm sorry, further investigation is necessary. And PF, decrease the chance of criminal at reasonable explanation or grounds. Could you guys hear?
Hello, Marika?
Is anyone else having that problem?
Yeah, her,
With-
I think your
Did I
internet
make-
is
her
going
end.
up.
Okay, I don't know what's
good,
going
and
on.
I
My
think-
internet, I guess, is acting up.
I also think Miss Bullard left the
Yeah.
call. I don't know.
Oh, let me see.
She's not there. I saw when it said,
Okay, I'm gonna wait. till
oh, she
comes.
just, yeah, she's not back.
Miss Bullard?
A few person left. I wonder what's going on. I'm confused.
That's a bad sign.
Everyone's internet, my
Electricity
internet
going
is
off.
freaking out.
Yeah, that means current going
Electricity
on.
in the area went off.
Okay, what area y'all in? Keep that way, please. Keep that way.
Oh,
Which
I'm
area
in-
is, which
Listen,
area is that?
my internet is acting up as well.
Oh, boy.
Y'all just
My
don't bring it in
internet-
the west.
Mine was acting up all
Yeah,
day.
we in the east.
I think
Okay.
Miss Bullard, I just
So
think
I
she
don't
mute.
know.
Hmm.
I think
Okay.
she's in. I just see her mute.
No, she's not, because her, yeah. She must be
Miss-
trying to.
Or just bounce back out.
Okay.
But can y'all post this in the group, please? That's fine.
Sure.
Everyone that's still in, are you east or west?
East.
I'm
I'm
east.
east. I'm
Central.
west.
I'm in
Yeah,
the
so I think it's west too, probably
Yes.
No,
Yeah, but
west is good. I'm in the west.
I got hit
I'm
out
a-
completely. I just got back in. Okay,
I
so
was-
they
I
was,
was-
Okay,
A lot
you
of people got hit out.
okay, can I continue? Let me continue.
yeah, yeah, go ahead.
You want me
Okay,
to read it over?
We didn't have, I didn't have anything because I got it off completely.
Okay, well,
A lot
Marika,
of
you
people
can
did. I'm not sure.
Marika, you can read over.
Okay. What are red flags and indicators? Red flags, indicators, are signs that help financial institution or business entities apply risk-based approach to customers' due diligence requirements. Here are some clients' behaviors or issues around business and its finance that should act as a warning to further investigation, and further investigation is necessary. Being aware of the red flags of ML, TF, PF decrease the chances of criminal activities. Several red flags and indicators without reasonable explanations are grounds of suspicion and should be reported.
Okay, that's it?
Me? Yes.
Okay.
For
Okay, so what I wanted to do, I'm presenting a case, whereas just a example, and then I'm going to list the red flag indicators within this case.
Okay.
So the Alma Campbell case. So basically, that's a rough overdraft of the situation. Alma Campbell was a former cabinet minister of the F&M government and a former ambassador for China for 4 years. Her and her son were charged for 18 counts of money laundering in 2020, but it started in September 6th, September 6th, 2019. So basically, her son, Chi Chase, he went to RBC Bank and he he deposited a fraudulent check of $1.2 million into RBC. It was successful and the cash was successfully deposited. Now, after that, he started to do a bit of smurfing. Oh, and the check was in the name of it was in the name of Ministry of Tourism, and it was deposited on the Campbell and Chase law firm account. That's the law firm that Ms. Campbell and Chase had together. Now,
So how did that happen? How? Like, what do you think happened? Who? Ministry of Tourism name, his account.
Because she was the cabinet minister for I think Ministry of Tourism or Immigration. The news clippings had a little weird because one had Ministry of Tourism, the other one had Immigration. So I guess with her being I wouldn't say power of attorney, but her being in that position, I would think that's why it was able to go through like that. And you agree, Miss Bullitt, before I go on?
No, I mean, I'm just wondering because I mean, what we would question, like, why would the Ministry of Tourism check the deposit? It's not in your name, and I understand you may be a board member or a position in there, but why didn't they make the check payable to you? I thought the name had to match the deposit.
No, with RBC, because they haven't upgraded, or sorry for cutting you out.
Fine, go ahead.
They have a fault in their system, whereas any check you deposit, it doesn't matter if they check it or do their due diligence with the check, it automatically clear within 3 days, So
I went to Royal Bank for 16
I
years.
have I figured the check
chime
had
in
to
on
be in
that,
your
but
name.
I went to
figured the check
Royal
had to
Bank
be
for
in your
16
name.
years. For 16 years, we
RBC
had
don't do that.
the name and the account had the match. We didn't
I
accept
agree.
third party
As
check.
well, I have to chime in on
if you
that as well,
deposit
because
if you deposit through the ATM, no.
That ATM, listen, you deposit to the ATM,
definitely won't
tell
work.
us go in the morning and clear the ATM, and
And
if
verify.
it don't match, it don't match.
I'd have to excuse me, I'd chime in on that as well. I understand what she's saying, and when the tellers do clear the ATM, every deposit comes to my department that I'm in at RBC. If the numbers could match, but the things they get wrong is the transit number, because
Thank you.
You can't get the transit number correct if you don't regularly bank with RBC, and we do check those checks. It's verified.
The name, right?
We
But
yes,
we
ma'am. We
talking
check
about
the
the
Yeah,
name.
you
name.
check
We ain't
the
talking
name,
about
and if the
number.
name,
We talking about the name, not the number.
Yeah,
Right.
I talk about the name as well. We check the
right,
names,
right.
and
And if it don't match, you put that on hold until you contact
yeah,
the
that's what
customer
we
and
do.
find out where
And
the check come from.
yeah, and after we check it, we give it to a proofing officer, and then the checks goes on hold. And there are many instances where we did run into that problem since I started working the RBC.
And then 1.3 million, not even like $50. I think you get through.
So Ms.
But
Bullitt,
who was the
because
check
what I
payable
started
to? Who was the check payable to?
The Ministry of Tourism. That's
No,
what they
him.
say.
So
was a
how was
Ministry of
how
Tourism
was he
check.
able to put it on his account? He had to
It
be
must have
working
been a
with someone
Ministry
in the
of
bank.
Tourism check. Yeah, it must have been a
Payable to
Ministry
who
of
though?
Tourism check, and he probably paid it to himself because he did something similar to Royal to BPL. He was a lawyer for
Him
BPL.
and another guy had a situation in BPL.
Yeah,
and that's why I don't understand why was it able to even be able to get on if this guy already had a still pending case.
Yeah, like he was out on bail, so Royal Bank should have something in the system.
Yeah,
they didn't know he was out on bail. Like triple check everything he do.
Ms. Bullitt, they had me scared for a minute.
It's the Lordman's fault. They were supposed to flag his account immediately when he was brought before the courts. They didn't flag his account.
But now there's a next case, and this is the account still moving.
No, I think, wasn't it in the company's name, the law firm's name, not in his name?
The
Any
check was
transaction
drawn,
that is done on his
the check
any
was drawn
transaction
on
that is
Ministry
done on
of
his account,
Tourism, but it was payable to the company, Campbell Chase
Right.
Law.
Right.
Oh, Okay, so it matched. The name did match.
Yeah,
Okay.
it
I
did,
know,
it
you
did.
know the name ain't matched.
Yeah,
So doesn't he have to
that's
show
how it
some
works.
sort of proof of identification when he actually deposit the funds?
They
Yeah,
could
but
hit
I
him with a
mean,
declaration.
Yeah, he could have deposited if it was made payable to his law firm, and I'm sure his law firm is fine of, get those sums of money. It's just that that check was stolen, not.
But they still should have red flag the company account. It doesn't
No.
matter anything involving him. I would
Yeah,
red
because he
flag.
was out on bail already. Yeah, correct.
Once he catch a case, they were supposed to red flag everything
Correct.
that was attached
Yeah,
to him
because-
and his mother.
Yeah.
Well, who
Anything
read?
they're supposed to have that under.
Kendrick, who reading the newspaper?
Say again?
Who reading the newspaper?
The MLRO should have read the
No, the account officer is required to know their client.
yeah, the operations department should have catch that from the beginning.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because anybody, let's say for example, Ms. Bullitt, the young lady that you cited who First Caribbean went after. This was about what, 4 months ago? When they hit her with multiple charges for using First Caribbean accounts and so forth and laundering money. Trust me, anybody who she has an account with right now, she
Red
under law
flag.
and key.
Red flag, yeah.
Red flag.
But
that
again,
person.
are we reading the newspaper? When we see these names, are we putting it, going to our system and saying, Kendrick Minnis charge, he have any account with us? What's his date of birth? Are we doing this? No. Are we changing those risk ratings from low to high? Because to monitor them closely? No, because nobody want a high risk account. Nobody wants to do enhanced due diligence. Right?
We talk about these things more in our group chats.
Yeah, just talk, and the people just processing transaction after transaction, $10 million in y'all bank, and y'all don't know where it come from or how it get there.
That's a lot of
Same
money.
thing with Michelle Reckley, depositing after deposit after deposit. Nobody asks no question. Okay, go ahead, Devon. Thank you for bringing the case up. Very, very good. Yeah, so
Yes,
just the red flag.
Okay, so since everybody know the case, so one of the hold on, let me touch this. Okay. All right, so one of the red flags of this case is multiple parties or persons were involved in a suspicious transaction report, meaning that after the money was already deposited, the money went out to a bunch of other persons. Like the major one was $465,550 went into the Malice Curry account. He was the owner of Outdoor Media, and he was also charged as well. Then Leah Knowles, his girlfriend, Chase's girlfriend, she received two set of money deposited to her account, $24,000, and then another $20,000 later on. And then a bank draft was made to Public Treasury. Yes, Public Treasury, and then another set of money, I think $1,700 were made to another person, I think Michelle something. So
a complex web in order to distort the audit trail of where this money went, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And then a large cash deposit, I feel as if from that $1.2 million was deposited on the account, that should have raised the red flag, because I understand that account probably would have been frequent with those type of transactions, but that was coming from the Ministry of Tourism. So I was but why would the Ministry of Tourism be giving a law firm $1.2 million? That sounds more of like a legal case or something like that, but it wasn't no evidence or more information could have been gathered from that.
So we should have filled out a declaration, source of funds, and asked them for source document. Is there a contract between yourself and the ministry? Why are they paying you this amount? Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Sorry, Kendrick, you were saying something?
Jeff, I still can't believe that, because once you didn't catch a case, trust me.
Yeah, like he already been in the newspaper big in
Kendrick,
2017.
y'all please stop. Who is reading the newspaper?
Yeah.
Maybe Maybe he have connection in RBC. Maybe somebody
You're,
that was
when
getting
you
the pin.
start reading the newspaper before this class,
Yes, I always used to. I always
And
read
watch
the
the
paper.
news.
you read the papers, and do you go and Google, you go to your system and search, or do you get the court? There's a cause list, and then there's a another list somewhere that tells you about Bahamian charges, right? And so they may not have made it to word check. All the reviews are behind. Nobody is monitoring. Nobody is even ensuring that these transactions are within the profile, and nobody knows their customer. So this is why these things happen. Okay? And so until we dedicate, nobody even knows how many accounts under your portfolio. Until you have the metrics in place to know how many accounts the company has and how many people you need to get to know, and then actually get to know them, and then monitor them, and then review them, this will continue to happen, because that's what we're not doing. If this is over 10,000, the money could go to the account of 15,000. If it ain't over the threshold, some companies don't even ask, what's the purpose? What's the generate a profile? We don't even know. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where we are now in an era of enforcement. You have to know your client. You can't have a portfolio of more than 100 clients. Okay? If they're high, if they're high and they're operational, you should have more than 50. Okay?
Yeah, but
And
who
then you
decides
have to
that?
monitor them. Sorry?
Who decides that?
Yeah, but somebody has to advocate for it. And you need to have proper metrics. You need to say it's seven of us and 1,000 accounts. That means somebody got to have 150, eh? But if somebody has 150, they better be 150 low risk that are non-transactional. So there's not a lot of work. So that person can spend the time trying to get to know those people and build a relationship. But if you have 150 high risk operational accounts, I'm very sorry for you. These Edison Sumners and all these company accounts and stuff, they will sneak in and they will come back to haunt you. Because gone are the days when you can only check the signature to see if it match.
Ms. Bullitt, if I could say this, water don't settle on hill.
Okay. So these are the questions that you need to start to ask in your huddles and your meeting. How many customers do we have in total? How are they adequately set, divided throughout the institution? Are they high, medium, or low? If I am junior, I supposed to have 70% low and medium and probably 30% high. If I am senior, I supposed to have 70% high and 30% low or medium. Something that you have to put metrics in place, know the numbers, and know how to work a split. And then accountability. A lot of in private banking, there's a generic box and somebody just distributing the work. There's no way you could go and know all 800 clients, and there's no way you could keep abreast of the trends in Europe and in China and in Latin America. So if you're working offshore, then it should be Latin America group, China, Asian group, European group. And then you could say Chinese don't do banking like this. Bahamians don't do banking like this. Europeans don't do this, and then you could pick up when something goes wrong. But if you don't have those proper metrics, you don't know. You simply do not know. And so accountability, or when it comes to the generic box, whoever available is do it. No, that means all 7 of us going to jail for one person. Okay, so therefore, you start advocating and saying, listen, how are we splitting this portfolio? And do I really know these people? And I need some time to get to know them. Or you'll be very sorry. I did a review of a bank and I fell off my chair. Okay. First of all, the people had 4 government accounts and say no PEPs in their risk appetite. 4 government accounts. One was Angola. One of the yes.
What?
Angola. Okay. Angola. Okay. They had no PEPs on file as far as they was concerned. Then they said all kind of foolishness, all kind of red. Like, don't stop me up with them people, because I understand what you're doing, and gone are the days, because Like, we are being internationally watched. Somebody has to go to jail. Only 4 people is go to jail. I don't tell you all that 100 times. You all don't believe me. No, yeah, even if you don't qualify for the position, yeah, I hope you all watch Dirty Money. Go to school, upgrade yourself, learn cryptocurrency or at least digital assets. Very risky. Learn. Don't put your signature to it because the company say this would be doing now. I don't see none of y'all fall before the courts just because of negligence, because y'all didn't know what to do. Not that y'all doing something wrong, just because structure isn't in place. Okay. So on page 61, very good, Livonia. Are the red flags, and Marika are the red flags. So you could read some more about those red flags. And please protect yourself. Like I say, internationally watch, some of us have to go to jail. Make sure it ain't none of yours. It ain't gonna be me. We ain't get no money. Okay, and so there is a conclusion. And she's gonna share it to the group.
Oh, Jesus, hold on, let me go back.
Good? Okay, let's go to question 10. And again, on the exam, that type of question will probably be Kendrick Meneses from Afghanistan. He's married to an ambassador's daughter, you know, and you would probably have to identify the various red flags and say how you would risk rate that person. Okay. All right. Question 10. Renee, and I don't know, I think a couple of people I tell to work with Renee. Who working with you, Renee?
I worked with Gwinnett, but I guess someone else had reached out to me and it was already done.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. So you and Gwinnett, go ahead.
All right. Good night, class and Mrs. Bullitt. I am Gwinnett Palmer, and my group member is Renee, and we did question 10, which is enhance and simplify due diligence. Simplify due diligence is described as the lowest level of due diligence to be performed. An organization may apply simplified due diligence for low risk and medium risk clients. The required documentation needed would be a passport, proof of address, a job letter, a bank reference, and personal and character reference letter, and maybe a world check. Some institutions can qualify to be exempted from the enhanced due diligence process once they are a licensed Bahamian or foreign financial institution, which is a regulated company. Enhanced due diligence is carried out for high-risk clients.
Sorry, Gwinnett, 1 second. Don't say they can be exempted from the enhanced due diligence. They can be exempted from the due diligence process, not the enhanced due diligence process.
Okay, sorry.
Okay,
They can be
because you get
exempted
points
from-
off for putting the wrong information.
Okay.
Okay.
They can be exempted from the due diligence process once they are a licensed Bahamian or foreign financial institution, which is a regulated company. Enhanced due diligence is carried out for higher risk clients. The compliance officer can provide approval on accounts that are regarded as low and medium risk. High risk accounts would require approval by the board of directors. The committee of PEP, politically exposed person, is if they are found to be involved. Their source of wealth must be
Wait,
provided.
that was confusing. Would you say that again? High risk
Accounts with
person.
high risk accounts would be require approval by the board of directors and the committee if politically exposed person is
No,
found to
so
be
this
involved.
how you say it. High risk and PEPs should be approved by the committee or the board. Something like that. Yeah.
High risk and
PEP.
PEP is
Politically exposed persons.
Politically exposed person is found to be involved.
Okay.
Source of wealth must be provided for high risk, and the accounts must be monitored every 2 to 3 years for low and medium, and every year for high risk. A world check must be completed on high risk using LexisNexis. Approximate report for a comprehensive.
No. Okay, you just reading. We want you to understand. Okay, and a lot of us tonight just read. That doesn't prove that you understand. The easiest way to write this is prepare a chart. One side simplified, the next side enhanced. These are the controls that we carry out for customer due diligence for our simplified customers versus our enhanced customers. Okay, so for simplified, these are lower medium, you do world check. For enhanced, we do world check, LexisNexis, or approximate report, or Google searches. So you just want to show the extra work that you do for the enhanced. For simplified, low and medium, we let the compliance officer approve. For enhanced, we let the board or committee approve. Okay, so that's how you want to differentiate the controls. What do we do for simplified? What do we do for enhanced?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what other control you have?
Other control, the other one, the completing a world check by using LexisNexis and approximate report was actually our last point.
Okay, so give me your 3 controls. Say them again.
The 3 controls.
You need at least 3 to get full points.
The other control would be the Google search, right?
Okay, but that's still under like world check, LexisNexis, and Google searches. You would do that for enhanced. You'd let the board approve for enhanced. What else would you do for enhanced? You get source of income for simplified.
You have to monitor, Ms. Fuller. You have to
Correct.
monitor.
We mentioned monitoring. We monitor it every year.
Every 2 or 3 years for low and medium, and every year for high risk.
Okay, good.
And
So
we have
that's
source of wealth as well.
And source of income.
High risk. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, good. So everybody clear with those controls and how to differentiate between the two? Because this
Sorry,
was
can
a
you repeat the
question.
last part, please, where it says source of wealth for enhanced parties, for enhanced due diligence?
Yeah, but it must be provided for high risk, and enhanced due diligence is for high risk.
And what do you provide for simplified?
Simplified would just be, I think, a passport.
No. Source of income versus source of wealth.
Source of income would be for simplified, and source of wealth.
And source of wealth for
enhanced.
Right. Yeah, so this question was for homework, and a lot of persons I had to send it back because they did not differentiate between the controls. And if this is more because of the number of persons that had to redo it, this may be on the exam again. So ensure that you could differentiate between the two, and you want to identify the controls. And again, it ties right back into recommendation 1. Identify the risk, put the controls in place. Simplified versus enhanced, and these are the controls I'm putting in place to protect the institution. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. And again, I would recommend that you read a body of work and then you write it out and ensure that you understand, ensure that it makes sense, because when we just copy and paste, it doesn't make sense and we lose a lot of points. Okay, so like I say, the key is to comprehend. You have to ensure that you understand with the question asked, and you're not from memory, I just recording with the books. Because you just have some missteps when you do that. Make sure you understand and write your answer from, what you would have practiced already. Don't just try to remember it. Try to understand it. Okay? So that's it, guys. We did it. That's the end of our 5 weeks. I trust that you found this beneficial and that you got a wealth of knowledge, that you're not overwhelmed, and you can retain some of this and you can go back into your organizations and apply some of what you learned. It's been a pleasure, and I do hope to see some of you in intermediate. This was a very intellectual class, so I hope that some of you are passionate about it or found it intriguing and want to move on to the next level. If not,
I gotta try find me a bottle of wine to drink right now.
yeah, so listen, your exam is on the 30th. And like I said, the key is to be organized and not overwhelmed and not rushed. And come in with a calmness and the information should flow. Okay, and
Okay,
then
girl.
plan your celebration right
Yeah,
after.
I gonna start drinking now.
But okay, drink now, and the week of the exam you just study.
Miss Bullard,
Miss Bullard,
Yes.
I did not receive my grade yet.
Are you sure?
I'm absolutely positive. I checked.
I've been making Miss Bullet crazy, because I
Same thing, Miss
know.
Bullet, I get mine,
I thought I didn't get mine either, Miss Bullard, and then when I look again, it was just one grade. I must have was looking for something else. Yeah, but I saw it afterwards.
Overall.
You just sent a percentage, right, Miss Bullard?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't get that. I checked my junk, and still nothing.
Okay, Carol. You'll get that today.
Thank you.
Okay.
Before
What
you
about
leave, Miss
Demetria?
Sorry?
What about me, Demetria?
Let me start writing this down. Demetria, I have 100 emails from you. I'd have to go through all 100. Let me see.
I think you say Wednesday, you're gonna send it. Fine.
Okay. Okay, I have Cara and Demetria. Who else?
Miss Bullard, can I send you an email about my visit to the social club?
To where?
So I'm scheduled to attend the Kiwanis meeting. Can I send you the email when I'm done with that? On how did it
Why
went?
are you sending me an email?
The reason being was I was scheduled to attend one tonight and I wasn't able to, so I rescheduled it for next week, Tuesday. And we won't be having any class, so that's why I was going to tell you about my experience via an email, if that was okay with you.
The day really supposed to be the deadline, and if not today, Saturday, supposed to be the deadline. So Tuesday would be too late.
Okay, so could I find something else to do then and send to you, seeing that I started the class 2 weeks late and I didn't have the time, like.
Okay, but
I could find
it's
something
a
to do
bonus
tomorrow.
point. So is okay. So yeah, you
I could find something to do.
have to send it by Friday, 11:59. That's tomorrow. You can do that?
I'll try my best.
Okay. Anybody else?
I would like to share on newspaper article, if that's okay. I need as much points as possible going into this exam.
You want to share on an article that'll do what?
I said I would need as much points as possible going into the exam. So I've done the.
Yeah, you already have your.
I
Yeah,
have
you have
all
your
of my
points, but you could share the article if you'd like.
Okay, two, a notice and an article stood out to me this week. The notice was RBC and their offering of the 0% offering of the 0%.
Hold on.
No, I got to, because I don't put my newspaper too, and this is exactly this is what I don't know.
Okay, you take that, but I also have I don't know if anybody is it just came out recently where First
October
Caribbean
1st.
Bank is selling or is about to sell their assets in 4 different countries. St. Vincent and Grenadines.
First Caribbean been on the stock exchange for like 5 years for sale. And they found a buyer out of Brazil and was not approved.
Oh,
the person wasn't approved.
Yeah,
no, they was denied. Yeah.
The buyers.
Oh,
a Colombian. It was a Colombian. I think.
It was a Colombian guy. I forgot his name. That they had secured a sale with, and then something didn't fall through with that. So now 4 different old OECS countries is where they are awaiting final approval to go through with the sale of all of their assets in those countries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay, great. Yeah. So Ebony, you have all your points, and Dimitri, you have all your points.
Good.
I don't have all of mine. The day I wanted to share an article that I read, it wasn't. I found it on Facebook just scrolling. I wanted to share it, but I wasn't able to make it to class. It was about this Trinidadian economist. I think her name is Mala Dukran. She spoke about how our next crisis in the Bahamas will be because of a balance of payments. And she was basically saying we will soon be a part of the fiscal right sizing program through our IMF. And pardon me?
No, I think Kendrick, you told us about this article already, right? When we said, this is the one where she mentioned that the Bahamas had to borrow again, and then I said 100 countries borrowed. Kendrick, this is the same article?
I think it is, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. But I don't know about the class that day, but I would have remembered and chimed in, but I just wanted to say what we do as a nation to so we don't be a part of the program that the IMF does to
get rid of the PLP and the FNF.
On shots fired.
That's an honest answer.
And start over fresh. That's the only.
I with you, Nicholas.
Yeah, I like that answer. It was very honest.
I mean, honestly, we have the natural resources. There are countries like Monaco and Morocco. I am not sure which M word, but they get like $3,000 a month, from their natural resources. I don't know if it was this class, but I was even saying, my God, Cuba is a communist country, and they get free bread, they get gas for 15 cents. We paying 501, so that's even a concession, even though, they have other problems, but they are self-sufficient, they living off the land. And so that's really it. The money from our natural resources and is and to do the same strategy that their parents did. Get all of them gotta go or start fresh. So some of you, I pray, become educated, keep abreast, keep current, because your country needs you. Like-minded people get together. There's, like I said, the same 5 people that you hang out with on the weekend. One weekend for us to brainstorm, invest, hang out, and find out how we can make this money and become employers rather than employees. Or network with some people right in this class. Go ahead.
That would require us actually engaging in some serious networking, because I compare it to basically this. If you're taking your employee to court and you work for an institution who engages attorneys, they will engage all of those attorneys, so you can't go use those particular attorneys against them in court. It's the same way in our country. If 10 of us get together and we form a company, we will face so many obstacles in regards to governmental interference, especially if it's something that they want to get their hands into. And I agree with you. I'm not going to be political tonight, but reading this article today with all of these recommendations, this is the issue that exists in this Bahamas and why we can never become better.
Okay.
$300,000 not Haitians, Chinese.
Yeah, but that's the issue, Kendrick. What is the solution? Okay. And let me tell you what one person said, you know, and I can't say that he said this, but what is being said about this person. I look in, hold on 1 second. Let me look for this name so I can tell you all who to follow if you're serious about stuff. A 29-year-old just opened up FTX. CEO Sam Bankman just opened up FTX. And when he opened, we watched his cryptocurrency business go from 14 billion now, not million. Then it went to 19 billion the next day. The day after, over the weekend, it went to 22.5 billion. I'm talking about in four days. He is bigger than the government. In fact, because China changed all their laws towards cryptocurrency and they don't have the flexibility anymore, he decided to come to the Bahamas. Okay, will he do good for the Bahamas? I don't know. But right now, he's 29 years old. And he has $22.5 billion. Okay?
FTX?
Bigger than the government, FTX. Okay? Bigger than the government. Made the government put their bill in place so he can open. Okay? So, I mean, the PLP government just happened to be the new government, but they were in talks with him for a few months, a few years. Their bill now is in place and he is open. So that's what y'all need to follow. You have to become bigger than these governments. You have to network so the government can't control you, you control them. You tell them, get the laws in place. Okay? And you build your network and your net worth. Okay, and he is not the only one. There's another. I'm hearing 22-year-old who is in the same business. He has about 14 billion. He started off with his father said go to business school. He went to business school for 6 months, dropped out, and now he has $14 billion. Okay. Crystal, you were saying FTX. Yes.
CFX, if I can share.
Y'all read up.
Hello?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
CFX, if I can share.
Crystal?
That is a cryptocurrency company that I understand that a lot of persons are using, but it's not regulated. I think
it's regulated by our DARE bill and they are regulated by the Securities Commission Bahamas.
It's tools. You're talking about TFX?
No, I'm talking about FTX, the Sam Berkman guy.
Okay, this is a different one. CFX.
He just opened like yesterday. I mean, this week on Monday or so, they had all the stuff on the news. You all could go online and read up about it. Okay, but that you have to be bigger than the government. And Kendrick, these issues been around for years and they ain't going nowhere. We have to find solutions. And this is what you do. You brainstorm, you write down the roadblocks, and you write down then the workaround and how we can make this money. There will be roadblocks, there will be governments that try to block you out or try and discourage you. There will be people within your circle that try to pull you down and you still have to push forward. And you can't be afraid to fail. When you fall down, you have to be willing to get back up. And as simple as that's how you make it. It is easy. It is easy. But it's achievable and you can do it. You can do it. It's been done before. And these young guys are doing it. So we should join them.
Yep, that is true.
Sorry, you said something, Kendra?
I said that is true.
Yeah, we should join them. So let's find a way. We 25 of you in here. Show us some like-minded persons. Y'all get together and try to make this money. Okay. Crystal, you were saying that you wanted to share something?
I was referring to another company I was researching that someone sent to me to join, CFX. It's not the same company with the gentleman who opened here. That company actually is not regulated, and I think it's based in the UK. And a lot of persons are joining. It's a multilateral marketing scheme, and they request at least $300 to join.
Okay, so be careful of those. Be careful of those pyramid schemes and stuff like that, where you have to pay or bring 10 people. So you have to do your due diligence. It's a very risky business. Okay, so you have to. That's why I said follow the FinTech Hub, get the updates, see what the law says. Okay, you make a lot of money with cryptocurrency because of the risk that you take along with it. Okay, now that they have it regulated, the risk has lessened, but still, I mean, it just means that you could go to the regulator and the regulator could shut him down or give him a fine, or there's recourse to get your money back. However, prior to this their bill being in place, Central Bank had put out a correspondence, invest at your own risk. Cryptocurrency is not regulated. Please don't come to us and tell us of your issues. You're investing at your own risk. Now that their bill is out, that means that they have some control. Not saying that you will not lose. Again, you have to find out about these investments and if they make sense and you know how it works. Or you have to hire an investment manager who takes 50% of your fees, but I mean, you still make some money and you go that route until you are comfortable or an experienced investor. Then you must take the Series 7 exam to really understand, how it works. Now everybody can't take the Series 7, so you go and pay this investor to do this on your behalf. But like I said, the fees are high. They normally charge 50%, but you still do make some money. Okay, and there's strength in numbers. I could buy one share of Google for what, $600-700, but 25 of us could each put $600 together, and we could buy how many shares of Google, right? That's how it works, strength in numbers. And that's what most persons are doing. Finding like-minded people to invest together, and they are making money. And it ain't easy, Kendrick, because like I said, I just made an investment, and then my business partner, one died, and the next one just having an issue with me. And I am stuck with the investment that I cannot handle myself. So what do I do?
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
So I in that predicament right now. All I know is I done spend my money. I can't give up. So I can't bring back the person that passed away. And you're trying to convince the person that walk away. I have all the assets. I don't know what to do with it, but I can find a way. That's where I am.
Ms. Bullard,
yeah.
In your spare time, I want to shoot something to you. I want to get your opinion on something relatively different to the class. But I will probably shoot you an email tomorrow.
Okay, fine. Okay, so if there are no other questions or concerns, it's been a pleasure. Like I said, I do hope to see some of you in the sorry, Cap. Oh yeah, I hope to see some of you in intermediate, but if not, Godspeed, you all be safe, and good luck. I'm certain persons will do well in the exam. I'm very confident in this class. So best of luck with the exam. And make it as easy as possible.
You are the lecturer for intermediate?
Unfortunately, Ebony, he was like, I can't take you, Miss Bullet, no more.
Unfortunately, you need to take that on out of there. Thank you. Okay, great.
Yeah, so yeah, I am. So y'all 10 weeks of me, y'all the lift. Ask Kendrick on life support. If you take one more class with me, he can drop out of school.
Okay. Ms. Bullard, cool. If you know somebody who offering scholarships, they can pay for my intermediate, I'll take it.
Honestly, like for real, like I want to take it so bad.
But your institution, I don't believe in paying for school fee. No, your institution.
Ms. Bullard, I know we're being recorded, so I could say it, but I'm paying for all of my classes.
And they don't reimburse?
Ms. Bullard, I'm paying for my classes.
Oh, wow. Kendrick, check your HR, please. I have some other people from your institution.
Okay,
Check.
Ms. Bullard, I'll email you.
And let me tell you something. And we go ahead and can't stop it. Oh no, that person might be in this class. Never mind. I wouldn't tell you all there's some opportunities out there.
Yeah.
Get your school fee paid, but I don't want to offend. Sorry, I don't want to offend anybody. So just in case that person here.
Yeah, I saw the email from Miguel Dos, and I was definitely interested in pursuing.
Sorry?
No, I said I definitely saw the email from Miguel Dos. They sent me the email for the intermediate. I think that's November 6th, right?
Yeah, Kendrick.
It's November 6th.
The 30th.
The 6th, no, Miguel
No.
sent an email that has the 6th on it.
Okay, yeah, but that,
November 6th.
I got a schedule that it starts on the 30th because they have to have some classes is on Saturday and Thursday. So the 6th is the Thursday, so that actually starts on the 30th. So I can tell Miguel to check his email.
So how we get to that
Yeah,
night,
but finals on the 30th though. Finals on the 30th.
Exactly. So how that's supposed to work? If we wanna, even if we wanna come to intermediary, how that could work if we have exam on the 30th?
You'll speak to Miss Dean, man. You'll speak to Miss Dean. I can't tell you over the office. You'll have to speak to Miss Dean.
Fran have the 6th in the email today. I'm dead serious.
Okay, I could double check. They might have to update my schedule. Okay. But I'll let her know that exam is on the 30th, so she have to look at the date for intermediate. But speak to her, she'll work it out for you.
Yeah, she's always working out.
Yeah. So
she's fair.
Okay, so I see all the comments, so thank you guys. Yes, it was awesome for me as well, and thank you all for being engaged and participating. Sorry, Ebony, go ahead.
Some persons were referring to an email that they would have gotten from Miguel regarding the intermediate. I obviously am missing some emails. Can someone forward that to me, please? Because I also didn't get the one with the link for this class. So can someone forward that email to me,
Who's that?
please? This is Ebony.
Ebony, I can set you straight, man. Just send me email.
Thank you,
I can
ma'am.
make sure you straight. Yeah.
Thanks, alrighty. Thank
Okay,
you, Ms.
great.
Bullard.
Thank you all too, and take care of yourselves and do well on the exam. Make me proud.
Okay. Ms. Bullard, can I speak to you a minute, please, after class?
Can you?
Speak to you a minute after.
Oh, Lord.
Sure, just stay on. Whoever wants to stay on, just stay on. That's fine.
It's full of like God. Good night, sweetheart.
All right, good night. Take care.
I can't do this class no more tonight.
Night.
Good
Good night,
night.
Ms. Bullard. Good night.
Good night.